them and you check and your salary appears to have doubled. But for the lowest earning, they were earning that job group A between 8,000 and 9,000 shillings. It moves to 11,000 or a maximum of 14,000. Now the disparity is glaring. Don't you think they should have moderated it, and probably those earning lower? Because surely if you're a civil servant in Nairobi and earning 14,000 as a maximum salary, surely does it make sense?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make
and
sense.
I want to condemn Salaries Commission, if at all they're the one who have come up with this structure. Of course, I know the justification most likely they are going to give. They would say those people who are at the top, they are few. Those people who are at the below of the pyramid, they are quite many. Meaning, if you are to add 1 or 2 shillings down here, the implication of the taxpayer will be huge. But to me, that's neither here or there, because you have realized Kenya is now experiencing what we call a labor unrest. One of the key drivers of that labor unrest is disparity. People, by the way, can be very happy if they are all poor. But if one of them becomes rich, then they start becoming very agitated. Yep. So to me, there's a scandal. Well, I support the idea of Salaries Commission. It's a very good idea, because if you don't have such kind of a commission that is full of experts on issues of labor relations, on issues of how people should be remunerated, you may cause our wage bill to go haywire. So I support. But on the other hand, I've never understood the rationale. When you go to a parastatal, you find the CEO is earning more than the president. Go to places like, let's say, NTSA. Go to places like KenGen. Go to places like Kenya Power. Those CEOs are earning millions of money. I can tell you the president is not even earning that money. What is the rationale? What is the rationale? You're just a graduate as compared to even a member of parliament. You see, at times, by the way, when you look at politicians, at times they argue part of the money they get is plowed back to one age. But these CEOs, they are just enjoying life. I've never understood. So they are getting millions of money. When you look at their input, how many hours do they work? They usually work, by the way, 5 or 4 hours. They go office for some few minutes, they are paid millions, and then they also have something else, per diems. They are always traveling, earning per diems, and that money is just being taken to your families or being pocketed in the bank. But the real worker who is hustling in that organization, either is an auditor, either is an accountant, is being paid peanuts. To me, Salaries Commission should come up with a policy to harmonize and ensure we don't have people earning millions of money to the detriment of the others. I disagree with this pay structure.
Yeah, because anyone earning 14,000 as a maximum they can earn, from let's say from 9,000 they were earning previously to 14,000. That's 5,000 shillings of difference. But now for such a person to hear that there's someone else whose salary has changed by 270,000 shillings and they're working for the same department. Yes, this is a boss and this is a junior officer, but either way, do they see the sense of SRC? You know, I've been a civil servant and I was at job group T. So you can see now the salaries are much better. At that time they were not that good. But a lot of civil servants in this country actually make sacrifice. They sacrifice, and most of them are very educated, very high, education. And I want to say the most, where Salaries should look is the CEOs of the parastatals. Because of these parastatals are supposed to be making money for the government. They are not making money. The CEOs are paid more than the president. And you know the work a president does. He's also 24 hours. In fact, the president and his deputy, whoever becomes that in Kenya is underpaid. When you compare to some of these CEOs of government organizations. So that must be harmonized, because some of the salaries were negotiated and they don't do much, and they are not productive. If you are the CEO of Safaricom, you are productive. It is understood what you are managing, and the salary is commensurate because it's a private entity. But when you are working for government, really, you must have a way of encouraging also the ones below there. But the secret behind this, let me tell you why this has been done, is to deal with the doctor's question. The doctor's issue, they are actually civil servants. And that's why we are coming up with a law
which separates them, you know, from civil servants. Because now, you know, some are hired at the counties, others are at the national government. They must be harmonized by some law of some sort, an authority which deals with that. But now Salah Salam is moving very fast to say all the doctors, even now, their salary has been
harmonized, it's been included.
So now they can do away with the CBA,
yes,
which is a valid document. All the courts have said it is not.
Now, Senator, I know we are talking about 500,000 as the highest salary for the civil servants, and probably for legislators you do not really understand this because you're beyond that. But surely for this person who's earning below 20,000, these are the people who vote for you. Yeah. Will you just sit back and watch as SRC does this, and I'm sure probably that will come to Parliament?
I know it will, and you know, in the Muli, by the way, SRC is not very popular even with parliamentarians because it took away the power to actually for members to actually just arbitrarily increase their salaries. I know we had quite a tussle when we came to Parliament because of the pay of senators and of members of National Assembly, and the senators felt they deserve more because they actually represent a wider area. And I know most of the members of the National Assembly that time supported SRC, and some of them are actually planning to cross over to the Senate. I can't wait to see how that happens this time, including
once he gets to the Senate.
But the work of SRC, that is why it's an independent commission. It really, and this work has not been done because of the doctors. I remember we have talked about it even in the Senate, the harmonization of the pay of civil service. It has not just sprung up. In fact, SRC has been doing a lot of stakeholders meetings on this issue. It has not sprung up because of the doctors' CBA and the issue that they have raised. So I think Honorable Manzo needs to tell the truth, because it has been in the public domain and it has been a discussion.
But we do understand that the doctors are also accommodated in this.
They are, and I think what is important is that you know, when you walk into an office of a civil servant, I have done it severally. People, when they don't recognize you first, they will not, actually they just sit. You know, some of them. And one contributor is this.
Yes.
Because of course they don't feel motivated enough, and it becomes a training ground for even private sector. You will train as government, then they are poached by the private sector because they don't feel there is growth and career progression and there is remuneration that commensurates by the work that they do. So I think what we need to do is support SRC first of all on harmonization. That we agree that in principle we need to harmonize. But you know, the way they evaluate, it's also included a lot of what you're supposed to actually look at the factors, or what you call the parameters for pay. You cannot also say that the work the CEO does needs to equal the work that a job group much lower does. So I think we need to leave it to the experts to actually tell us. But most importantly, we also must lessen the gap. I agree with Honorable Kangata on that, because if you give someone in Nairobi 14,000, which is maybe before tax, then you tax it, and they have a child in school or children in school, they need to pay even a decent one bedroom, say in Umoja or in Savannah or wherever, in Eastlands, will cost say 8,000. Then that person really has nothing, and it becomes a cycle of poverty. So I think we need to lessen the gap, but we also need to put the parameters and in public discourse, and let us also discuss it even in Parliament, so that we are able to actually advise the way we should.
And to be fair, the new grading in 2017 has how many, at least job groups B4, B3, B2 and B1. That's 4 different grades earning less than 20,000. Previously, those earning less than 20,000 were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different job groups in the civil service. So yes, there is some progress, but there's still a lot to be done. Let's now move on to the politics. And interestingly, yesterday we saw something interesting, a huge defection from Jubilee to Maendeleo Chap Chap. That story by Stephen Leto. If we have it, let's see it now.
One defection.